Let's go to Calgary. Sabrina Grover is standing by. Sabrina is a Liberal strategist. She once ran for the Liberals in the riding of Calgary Centre. Good to see you, Sabrina. Thanks for this.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen today as Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre go toe-to-toe today in the House of Commons in question period? What are you expecting?
So I think it'll really be an interesting dynamic of personalities because we haven't really seen the two of them go head to head yet, right? We had them on the campaign trail, but that's not really the same as being in the House. I do think that over the last several months, we've seen Mark Carney really establish himself as the adult in the room, not only from the way that he presents himself, whether that's engaging with stakeholders or engaging with other, other folks like premiers around the table, but also from the policy perspective that he's bringing. And he's brought a really serious tone to Parliament. Or to the government, in general. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the House, whether or not the Conservatives are going to shift tactics. I think it's quite different engaging with Mark Carney than it was engaging with Mr. Trudeau, and it'll be interesting to see how that actually plays out with Pierre's first line of questioning.
Let me push back just a bit whether you think, Sabrina, that Mark Carney might be vulnerable on the Trump file. I mean, it has been about 5 months now since he's been elected Prime Minister, and he did talk about being able to deal with the Trump threat and the trade war against us, and we're still very much in limbo. That's something the Conservatives have been hammering hard on recently.
I don't think that there's a huge vulnerability there because I do think that he's got a very sound answer to it. So I think on the one hand, he's talked about how we still have the lowest tariffs of any of the partners that the United States has dealt with. Second, you've seen him from the G7 onwards really engage strongly with European partners. So I think he's got some backing to say, I've actually gone out and tried to make some additional deals or make inroads on those deals that would lead us to better success. And then I think thirdly, the Conservatives don't have a plan to put forward on that. So there's only so much you can do when you're ribbing somebody if you can't put forward a policy of your own. And so I think that that's where that is going to get muddled up in terms of finding success for the Conservative side.
Hey, last question on the budget that's coming, and of course we're a while from that, but Carney has already suggested, Sabrina, that it is going to be bigger, the deficit will be bigger than we've seen before, and there will be cuts to certain departments. We know certain areas of government have already been told they're going to have to tighten their belt, plus some key investments as well. Again, is he vulnerable on that in terms of the fiscal spending aspect?
So what I'm really going to watch for is how he empowers ministers to talk about those aspects, right? So we've seen from the last 5 months since the election that it really has been about Mark Carney and about Mark Carney putting out a message. I think now is the time where he's going to have to use his ministers to go out and be able to support that message, and we haven't seen that yet. So how does, Mr. Champagne message these things? How does Patty Hajdu message these things when it comes to labor, when it comes to potential public service cuts, but given that we might face, new contract negotiations with the public service? That's where I think it's going to be really important. I don't think his messaging has changed when it comes to what we saw in the election and what he's going to put out in the budget. It's more about how he's going to use some of his key players to bring that message forward to Canadians.
Sabrina Grover joining us, Liberal strategist. She is in Calgary today. Good to see you, Sabrina. Thank you.
Thanks.